Hi, Phil Iverson here. This video is about a rocking chair, or rather what I consider the type of rocking chair that would be the forerunner of a Sam Maloof rocking chair. Sam Maloof, as many people know, is probably the world's most famous rocking chair maker. He actually did many pieces of furniture. I've heard that it's somewhere around 3,000 that he made in his lifetime. That's a staggering number of pieces of furniture. And we're talking pieces of furniture that were very high quality. But he was most famous for his rocking chairs. And if you have not seen them, if you've not seen them, they're quite attractive. I am a woodworker myself and have made many pieces of furniture. Truth be told, although I've made many chairs, I have not made a rocking chair. I tend to make a different style of chair. But anyway, I did study Sam Maloof's woodworking and credit him in large part. I was very lucky. I had many instructors in coming through the woodworking ranks, so to speak. But I did watch Sam Maloof's videos very many times and picked up a whole slew of very useful information. But that's just a brief introduction about the video. We're going to go and take a look at the chair itself. Now, this chair, I live in Chicago. I was in sort of a high-end thrift shop, if so to speak, in Lincoln Park here in Chicago. And sitting over in the corner was this rocking chair, and right away I knew it was a very beautiful chair, and yet it seemed to be totally ignored or undetected by the rest of the customers. I walked over to the piece and looked at the price tag. I think it was $50. So the price is very modest. This is roughly about a 100-year-old chair. I can tell that from the patina, the way the wood is oxidized. But to sum the story up, that first day I said to myself, I admire the chair, but I don't need any furniture. I'm a furniture maker myself. So I left the store, and that was it. But that night, I sort of had a dream about the chair, and I said, what a beautiful chair. It actually dawned on me just how classy the piece actually is. And the very next day, I went back early in the morning. Lo and behold, the chair was still there. And the reason I bought it was not to be used in the house, but so that I could study the chair. And I think you'll see why in just a minute here of why I did get the chair and what can be told about the very high quality woodworking that was done on the piece. And as you may well know, the woodworking has fallen out of vogue. 100 years ago, even for a new piece of furniture, you'd go to a fine woodworker and discuss your piece of your new furniture, and they would make it up for you. But the prices have come down so dramatically by just going to a store like IKEA. You can get a very adequate piece of furniture for not much money that does not, sometimes it lasts in the household, in the family, but sometimes it ends up not having a very long life. It gets moved on. But anyway, here's a bit about this gorgeous rocking chair, and this was the type of chair that Sam Maloof would have learned from in his beginning days of woodworking. So here we have the chair in question. The gorgeous $50 thrift shop chair that went completely under the radar of so many people. Now, the only thing that I did to it was I did reupholster it. It's a very simple reupholstery job, so I just did it myself. But that's all that I did to it. I did notice before I took it home, in fact, this would have been a deal breaker, but all of the joinery is solid on the chair. Of course, I could have fixed it myself if it were reversible old-fashioned glue, but I didn't want to get in the position of having to delve too deeply into resetting the glue joints. In any way, all of the joints, it's not rickety at all. And I did sit in it myself. I weigh about 170 pounds, and it was just fine. Now, part of the reason that this did not attract much attention was really, as I mentioned, woodworking has sort of gone out of vogue. People don't, in general, understand what a really classy piece of furniture is. It's sort of like if you were to be a really trained artist, and you would know, a trained artist would know what a really good piece of artwork is, compared to another piece of artwork that really may be very beautiful, just as pretty, but much simpler to make. And so what attracted me to this was that it just had all the elements of such a classy job by the person who made it. I'm going to assume that this was one man that made the chair, but it could have easily been several people working on the chair. The chair is made from white oak. That's very easy to tell. I can tell from the wood pattern. And in a minute, I'm going to bring the camera up and go over some of the elements of the chair. But we do have 8 chair staves in the back. We have 6, 3 on each side, sort of arm chair staves. And then on the bottom, of course, there's 4 legs. And there are, on each side, there are 2 stretchers that go across. Many times people skimp on this type of thing. They put 1 stretcher on the bottom of the chair. They may not put any chair staves or use a simpler fashion for the arms. And to put 8 chair staves on the back, just fantastic. All of this was done without the help of, they had electric tools. I'm sure they had a bandsaw at least, but most of this, the fine fitting was done by hand, getting all the last dimensions to the chair staves and things like that, all fitted by carefully filing them down with probably just a wood knife. But the maker also, on all over the chair, the very prettiest wood grain is facing out, easy to be seen. They took the time to do that. The arms are matching on both sides. Actually, the arms splay out to invite you to sit in, to sit down, and everything is on an angle. One of the common things that are done. When you have woodworking done on a 90-degree angle, it's very simple to make your joints, and generally speaking, very simple to make your joints. But when you start putting things on all manner of different angles other than 90 degree, that means you have to have a much higher level of skill to do that. And very little of this is at 90 degrees. A little bit of it is, but most of it is what we call a compound joinery. Surprisingly, screws are used on the back to hold the arms in place. And the chair is roughly 100 years old. And those screws are just holding just as beautifully today as when the chair was made. If they've been tightened at all, I can't really tell that. But the maker had a fantastic understanding of what was necessary to make it very durable. And at the same time, the arms give a little bit. If they were rock solid, no give at all, certainly they'd be out of the joinery would have failed by now. But they knew when to use screws, and there's 4 screws that hold those arms together to the chair. But anyway, I'm going to take a close-up and go over just a little bit about this and show you what I mean when I talk about the compound joinery and the angles on the chair. So here we go in our approach. As I said, the arms are not at 90 degrees. They slightly splay out. It's sort of inviting you to sit down. And you can see these arms are shaped very beautifully. They're rounded over. That's ever so slightly rounded over. You can see the skill when they shaped these. In fact, the whole chair, all of the arms have been splayed out a little bit up at the front and down on the bottom. With class in every stroke, in every brush stroke, it's class. 3 staves on this arm. Very generous. And those are not straight pieces of wood. They're bowed, again, leading to a very inviting way of making the staves for the arm. Here's the crest of the chair. They used beautiful white oak. And something that goes under the radar a little bit is that they did not use very heavy pieces of wood. Here's a sign of someone who had some class to them. They used just enough thickness, just enough width to make a beautiful chair so that it's not weak, in fact very, very strong. But rather than a heavy, large, bulky piece, they used just the proper amount. Here we've got 8 chair staves in the back. How often do you see this? And of course, none of these are straight. No. They're shaped ever so beautifully. This was done on a lathe. See, this was spun around on a lathe. This was cut on a bandsaw and then finish shaped. They probably used a router. Well, we don't know exactly, or they might have used some type of a plane, but a hand plane. But we assume it's a router. Down on the bottom, in the front, the 2 stretchers, these actually bow. You can't see very well, but they bow back. so that when you sit down in it, your legs won't easily bump into that and you know, make a bump on your legs. These legs were turned again on a lathe. The front centerpiece beautifully facing out on both sides. Every stroke is class. On the sides, these are straight. They did not need to be bowed in because your legs don't fit into that. But again, this is probably at 90 degrees, but this is not at 90 degrees. So you've got to be really on your money. You've got to be skilled to get that for proper joinery. And of course, notice how, whoop, there we go, the microphone cord. But notice how that those are not, those rocking arms, they are not 90 degrees. They ever so gently splay in. It makes for more aesthetically appealing and also more useful in rocking. And here's one last little thing I'd like to show you. Notice that this is the leg, this is the back leg actually, and you see this has been turned on a lathe, joined up here to, this is the crest of the chair, so that's where it's inserted into the crest. But how on earth did they turn it on a lathe? How did they get that bend in the bottom? I'll tell you how they did that. After they turned it on a lathe, they steam bent the back leg. Again, class at every step. So this is what we have. Sam Maloof would have seen chairs like this, and being the great woodworker that he was, he would have said, you know what, it's a beautiful style of chair, but I'm going to make my own version of it. I'm going to make a modern chair. I'm going to make a little fancier arm and shape them a little prettier. Not necessarily prettier, but a little more modern. Anyway, this is my little $50 thrift shop chair. We're going to find a new home for it. It's not, this isn't the place for it here in the house here, but it's a beauty. Well, that'll just about do it for this video. If you liked the video, consider subscribing to my channel and also leaving a like. Of course, leave a comment as well, and always look forward to that. This is the second video that I've made regarding furniture design, and I do hope to make more. It's sort of a project that is developing slowly, but woodworking and furniture making have been a passion of mine for a long time. I have a lot of fun with it, and we hope to see you in the next videos.